start live streaming this. Blessing's live streaming this, so we could probably throw this out in the hallway and have like an auxiliary.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is March 15, 2023. We are reconvening the Board of Finance budget hearings for the 2023-2024 budget years. And tonight is our technical session, voting session to adopt both the Board of Education budget and the City of Milford budget. As I mentioned, I think most people are here for the Board of Education, so to accommodate the citizens who are here tonight, I think we will start on page 94 of the budget, which is the education operation. And I think we will call the meeting back to order. I note for the record that all members of the Board of Finance are present. And again, page 94, education operations. Before we get started, there was a technical change that we'll address on page 94 for the education health insurance contribution. That amount had changed from $25,666,000 to $25,501,000, which was roughly an increase of $3 million over last year's education insurance health contribution. That'll be adopted as part of the city budget when we get back to it after the remainder of the city budget. So with that, we'll open up discussion or motion on education operations, page 94.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the full Board of Education budget as presented by the Board of Ed at $106,488,950.
There's a motion made. Is there a second?
I can second that motion and then open for discussion.
Thank you. There's a motion made to approve the Board of Education operations budget as presented. Any discussion on the motion?
I guess I'll start. I see three driving factors. I see salaries, I see students, and I see system improvements. Salaries make up 77% of this budget. It's a budget full of human capital. These are our people in front of our students every day, our teachers, our specialists, our counselors, our principals. They're the ones in our classrooms in Milford. I also see system improvements. I think it was a small list this year. We're looking at things like robots, classroom libraries, world language courses, pottery wheel. Nothing jaw-dropping in my opinion. And the last thing I see is it's very student-centered. The district is still committed to HQI, or high quality instruction. Students are engaged in their classrooms. They're engaged with problem solving, inquiry-based learning, and instructional play. And I think the outcome has been positive for Milford, and I'm in support of the budget.
Mr. Chair, through you. I have a different opinion. I see the school system becoming very top-heavy. It's there's more counselors, than teachers, there's more administration. And I just don't see it as a sustainable thing. The windfall from the COVID money set us on a path of 12 people that really are just, it's not a preordained fact because we had a windfall. I don't think it's in the long-term benefit of Milford to rely on counselors. I think maybe there is definitely stress in the schools, but just to throw money at it, not the solution. I can't support that.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
So is it possible to make a counter?
Well, not at this point. There's a motion on the floor and seconded, so we'll have to vote on that motion first, and then we can certainly have some further discussion, and then if there's none, we'll have a vote. I mean, my thoughts, and I've raised them a few times, in fact, many times over the years, is that my concern is, with the decline in enrollment, it's really been a trend for the last decade at least. And, despite the decline in enrollment, we have added a number of positions, in fact, about 12 positions in the last 5 years, despite, I think, 300 or 400 fewer students. So that's a trend that I'm concerned about, and I know there's been significant hardship on a number of citizens over the last couple of years, particularly with the increase, or maybe not an increase might be the wrong word, but a reallocation of the tax burden throughout the town due to revaluation that occurred last year that shifted a significant portion of the tax burden onto homeowners as opposed to commercial property owners. And part of the charge of this board, I think, is to find a balance between the taxpayers and the needs of the Board of Ed and the city needs. And striking that balance is not always easy, but it is one of the tasks that we're charged with, to try to support the city, support the Board of Ed, but also recognize that many of our taxpayers, particularly elderly taxpayers, and I know we used to have some voices on the board that express those concerns a little bit more eloquently than I do, but certainly a point of view that I think we need to keep in mind, that there are people with fixed incomes, and any tax increases can fall disproportionately upon certain portions of the population, citizens in Milford. So in my mind, we need to try to find a balance between as I said, the needs of the education and the city, but also keeping in mind our taxpayers.
Pivoting off of that, the increase in the past couple of years of headcount benefited because, the expansion of foreign language, which was an excellent choice, and the expansion of STEM. But again, I'm going to come back to the fact that 12 high-end professionals are added, and you have the salary, and you have the head count, and the challenge to this budget is really head count driven. Because, medical expenses are going up, insurance are going up. The surest way to keep that under control is to control the head count.
Well, along that line, just want to point out the increased cost of health insurance. Unfortunately, that's been a stress on not only the city side, but on the Board of Education side as well, with almost a 10% increase or more in the health insurance contribution over the last 12 months. And that is not reflected in the Board of Education budget. It's $24 million roughly that shows up on the city side of the budget. But obviously, it is a function of what's happening on the Board of Ed side as well. Any further discussion on the motion?
No, I'll just add, I mean, I agree with Lauren, Brian, Ray. I'm not a politician, but that's a great political response. But as a father with 4 children in the Milford school system, I commend all the educators on everything they do. I've never had a bad experience for any of my kids. But also sitting here as a volunteer, as someone that's got to be a shepherd for the city's finances, I agree with Ray, and it is difficult when you have a significant increase such as this. So I would entertain a discussion around amending the motion or proposing that.
Well, why don't we take a vote on this motion, and then the floor will be open for anybody else who would like to make a motion if this one does not pass. So any further discussion on the motion? Lauren? If none, there's a motion on the floor to approve the Board of Education budget as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Motion fails. 1 in favor, 4 against. So if anyone else would like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the budget for education operations account 1005-054-796 in the amount of $104,640,134. This figure amounts to a 2.58% increase from the existing budget.
Could you repeat that amount again, Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, I have it on the phone. 104,640,134. And
And that's
the
it.
delta in dollars is 2,631,815.
So that's a motion to increase the Board of Education budget by the sum of $2,631,815 for a total of, $104,640,134.
Yep.
The motion?
Yes.
There's a motion made, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second, discussion on the motion?
I'll just reiterate, I'm in support of the full budget, and I just think any cuts to this lean budget would impact our students directly.
Thank you, Lauren. Any discussion, further discussion?
Ray, what did you say that was the percentage increase or dollar increase?
2.58%.
2.58, that's the largest in
I believe so, the last like 5 years.
last 5 years.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, is it, would the board be interested in having accurate information on the percentage increases?
Mr. Ricitelli, I'll certainly allow you to speak.
The statement that Mr. Arnold just made is not factual. The board had a 3.109 increase in 2021. I can pass all of the increases if you'd like. But I think we have to the board needs to base their decision and their vote on factual information. And what Mr. Arnold just said is not factual.
Fair enough.
I also asked Ms. Smith if she would let us know why she was in favor of the motion.
I'm sorry, you can't, I'm not going to allow that.
I know you're not going to, but it would be nice to hear.
Yeah, that's,
Mr. Ricitelli, we don't come to the board of,
yeah, that's not an
we
appropriate.
can't make personal attacks on people.
I didn't make a personal attack on anybody.
Well,
I asked if somebody would reiterate
Mr.
why she didn't
Ricitelli.
pass.
Thank you for bringing information to the board. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for response, but at this point, going to stop a dialogue back and forth.
And Mr. Chair, our finance director does have the accurate information for the increases. It looks like 2.58 was the highest in the last over a decade.
Peter, could you,
Yeah, if Mr. Arnold was referring to fiscal year '21, I have it at 2.58% increase.
okay, that's, I think that's what was being proposed for this year as well. How I interpreted the motion.
That was what was proposed, 2.5.
And Peter, do you have anything else to add?
Not at this time.
Again, according to the finance director, the average increase over the last decade was a 1.44% increase. The largest over the last decade was 2.58% increase.
2.71.
Well, that's, historic information is always useful, to put things in context, so, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to confirm I think Mr. Arnold had given a dollar amount for for the increase.
Yes, you
Okay.
could just,
Yeah.
Peter, if you wouldn't mind checking that, because
Yeah, I'm just-
we want to make sure, not that I don't trust Mr. Arnold, but you are a finance.
I'm not sure I trust Mr. Arnold.
So, if you could just confirm what the intent of the motion might be, and Mr. Arnold, if you could confirm it, if the math is correct.
Yes, his figure of 2,631,815 is correct. That would be the revised increase. And the decrease, compared to the mayor's proposed, not the mayor's, the Board of Ed's proposed budget is 1,048,816 would be the reduction.
Thank you, Peter. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed. It's 3 in favor, 2 opposed. Motion passes. I would oppose. I would oppose the law.
It's cleared the room out, huh?
The way it is. months. It's only going to take some months to, because those counselors are not going away. I had the problem with it last year, I just.
You should have had that as the end, see this. Everybody got this.
Imagine.
I will. So, Ed, what would you like to talk about?
Well, that was my first time at this section of the meeting. I had no idea.
People in the hallway. Well, Glenn had different numbers too.
Depends on the
Are they doing a spend management?
I'm impressed, right?
You're not used to that from me.
No, I'm used to it, I mean, I'm pleased.
That was fun. Okay, so,
Wasn't a popular decision in the room, but I think it is a late decision for the town.
okay, so we were still in session. Thank you everyone for their input on that motion. In consideration of those individuals who are here, in particular, Mr. Benessi on behalf of the Borough of Woodmont, I would, unless someone has an objection, to taking the Borough of Woodmont somewhat out of order, I would suggest that we do that. And
Second,
since we don't need to waste anybody's time sitting through the rest of the budget, so, but I'm not sure what page that is on.
88 usually,
Thank you.
as a historian. But I only came, I wanted to make sure that everybody received, and Brian, I just read your message this morning. The way our email stacked, I didn't see it, so I apologize.
No,
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I wanted to acknowledge the receipt and,
And
because
you sent it out to everybody. so-
I know how the emails work, it's just,
And I know it was confusing, it looked like it was the 5:35 or 5:38, but it's not.
so, thank you. If you have any questions, we'll ask, but I
I'm
just
here to answer if you have any.
And at this point,
Mr. Chair, do you want to do a one-off and then start back at the beginning? or
correct, I think that would be best, and then we'll just, when we get to it, we'll stop again.
So I'll make a motion that we approve, let me just pause, do you want to hear the account number, or you just want to hear the,
From my take, I think we just need to read the Borough of Woodmont or the department name, and I think that'd be sufficient.
And generally, you could also, if you, for the remainder of the budget, you could say, I move to approve the budget for fiscal year 2023-24 with the following changes after that, and then flip through, and if there are changes above and beyond the borough, you can pause unless you want to do it differently. But I think that's historically what we've done.
Well, I usually do, page by page, well, Scott will, or the
Block
vice
by
chair will make block by block, and we'll make a motion, we'll go through it. It'll move quickly, because otherwise I'll get confused.
okay, so I'll make a motion,
So, yeah, well, why don't we do Borough of Woodmont, and then we'll go back to start with Board of Aldermen, and we'll go through, and then as we get to a change, we can make a change. But I think, to answer your question, I think it's sufficient, Peter and Tony, if we just read the, we don't need to read the department or the account number, correct? We can just read the department name.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, just the department name.
Yeah, and then if we need to make a change, we might need to get more specific on the line item.
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right.
all right, so I make a motion that we approve for the fiscal year 2023-2024 for Borough of Woodmont, as presented by the mayor, $265,000.
There's a motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. All right. Thank you for all your work in the borough.
Hey,
And the city.
Thank you all, I don't know when to see him.
Okay, I believe we go back to page 14. Thank you.
Want to land,
it landed on page 18, so just be general expense. Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the following for fiscal year 2023, 2024 as presented. Board of Aldermen, elections, registrar of voters, Milford Government Access TV, mayor's office,
For your word, which on the government access TV, mayor's recommendation or the department request?
Everything's gonna be as mayor recommends,
Okay.
unless there's a change that any member would like to make, or we get to a technical correction. So it'll be as presented by mayor recommends.
Okay, thanks.
Is that the motion, Scott?
that is the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lauren. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. General expense?
Okay, I make a motion that we approve as presented by the mayor for fiscal year 2023, 2024, starting with general expenses.
Well, then there's a change with the following, the following change.
With the following change of $396,112.
No, I think if you do, on that one, you'll have to go to that line item.
Oh,
And then read that line item.
it's been a year, guys.
I know.
So let me amend the motion.
Do you have the one that,
I think that's, is that the most
is that
current
the
one?
one, the
Oh,
one
do
you
you
have
have-
today?
I would use the stapled set. I basically replaced the set I gave you last meeting with the stapled set because I had to change the police department slightly. So I would use the stapled set that I just handed out.
All right, so I'll kick you when, if we get to it, but, so that change, there was no change on that one, so.
So general expenses had a change in the professional services on it.
Page
Yeah.
19.
Yeah, no change between the staple and the
Oh,
handout.
right.
Yeah.
The only change between the staple and the other set was the police department for one position that had to be corrected again. And the revenue fund balance, which we can discuss when we get to the revenue section.
Sure. Okay. So I'll amend the motion to approve general expenses for fiscal year 2023 as presented by the mayor, noting $61,160 for professional services and audit, bringing the subtotal to $85,460, bringing the department total to $396,112.
So there's a motion made to approve the mayor's recommendation with the following, with the change that was noted by the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll do a block.
Well, actually, I think it's only one, it's gonna be three, so let's change to the clerk.
Page 22.
That's right, we got stuff in this one. So I'll make a motion that we approve for fiscal year 2023, 2024, as the mayor recommends, community development, $138,051.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make a motion that we approve for fiscal year 2023, 2024, city clerk with the following amendments. Fiscal regular wages, regular wages, $385,278. 1/5 fiscal week, $1,897, for a subtotal of $401,700, for a department total of $467,301.
That's the motion.
Second?
Oh, I think actually.
So I think it's 385, the total.
Department
no.
total for city clerk.
No, that's wage total.
Oh, okay.
But there's actually one more change on page 23, if you can note that.
With the additional change for assistant city clerk to $61,440, which brings the position totals up to $385,278, which brings the department total to $467,301.
Thank you, that's the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Lauren. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now I can do the clock, right?
Yeah, I think we're good. I'm gonna actually recuse myself from, so if you could just do law department, then I will vote on that.
I will make a motion for fiscal year 2023, 2024.
Actually, with my thing.
Yep.
Raise hand.
I make a motion for fiscal year 23-24 for the law department, for a department total of $702,926.
So we have a motion presented by Mr. Arnold for the law department for $702,926.
I will second.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And one abstention.
One.
Can you come back on that? Yep, got it.
Okay, so, then we're back on with ethics.
I will make a motion for fiscal year 2023, 2024, as the mayor presented for the following departments: Ethics Commission, Probate Court, Board of Finance, Permitting and Land Use, Board of Assessment Appeals, Zoning Board of Appeals, and we'll stop there.
Is the motion made, is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make a motion that we approve for fiscal year 2023, 2024, pension board with the following amendments. $3,400 for professional services and audit fees, bringing the subtotal and the department total to $4,600.
There's a motion made, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Lauren, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make a motion that we approve the following for fiscal year 2023, 2024, as presented by the mayor: Flood and Erosion Board, Tree Commission, Civil Service Commission, Park, Beach, and Recreation Commission, Economic Development Commission, Conservation Commission, Veterans Ceremony and Parade Commission, Housing Code Board of Appeals, Open Space, Public Library, Finance Department, Information.
Yep,
We got it, sorry.
so up to Finance Department, there's a motion to approve as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for fiscal year 2023, 2024, to approve with some amendments for the MIS system, information technology, with the following amendments. $463,131 for regular wages, 1/5 fiscal week, $2,288, bringing the subtotal to $542,420, bringing the department total to $1,132,302. and noting under information technology, for position totals being amended, to the IT support specialist, $75,814, bringing the position totals to $463,131.
That's the motion, is there a second?
Second that.
All those in favor, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Just do human resources.
We're on page 41, human resources, and there's also a technical change on that.
Make a motion for fiscal year 2023 and 2024 to approve human resources with the following changes. $303,109 regular wages, 1/5 fiscal week, $1,512, bringing the subtotal to $329,421, and the department total to $348,701. Also noted, under human resources assistant, $50,629, for position totals of $303,109.
Thank you, that's the motion. Is there a second?
We'll second that.
Thank you, Laura. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
So Peter, the stapled packet,
Has a revised police department.
so we're talking 43, 46, with the asterisks, you want me to highlight that, or just?
I think that Mr. Chairman suggested we can just say the various positions adjusted, resulting in a revised total of.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And just for the, so the board knows, the only change I made since the last meeting was on page 48. Towards the latter half, the police officer position 421000082, that had to be corrected to remain at the top step, which is step 10. So I went back to 85,109 due to staff turnovers. That was the only change from last meeting.
All right, let's see if I can get this right. So I'll make a motion that we approve for fiscal year 2023, 2024, for the police department as presented with the following amendments. Regular wages, $11,440,259. 1/5 fiscal week, $57,010, bringing the subtotal to $13,743,206. Bringing the department total to $15,249,673. And also noting several adjustments to a variety of different officers and sergeants.
Adding up to that total that you just read for fiscal or for regular wages and 1/5 fiscal week. Okay, I think that covered everything. Did we miss anything on that? Mr. Mayor, Peter?
No, if, at the end of this vote, you want to incorporate in this packet into the record as a formal exhibit or piece of the record, that may be appropriate too.
I would agree with that, that makes sense, and I think that would be, Board of Finance recommended numbers would be incorporated into the record as presented by the Finance Director. Thank you, there's a motion on the made, is there a second, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Second made by Lauren, any discussion on the motion? should note that I believe, and Mr. Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, that this police department budget does include one new police officer position, and then some adjustments to some other wages, but no other positions.
Correct. The only new position on the city side that I'm aware of is the one additional police officer position. And as the chief said, he and I had a discussion in terms of the forward progress, and it was his recommendation and my agreement that we would do a police officer position each year for 4 years, for a total of 4 new officer positions over a 4-year horizon.
And this is year one.
This is year one, in terms of the future needs of that department.
Okay, so we'll note that for the record. Although noted, obviously, every Board of Finance has their own vote, but certainly, we're adding a position this year, but going forward, there's no commitment to add the officers, at least not in this particular vote. So,
And again, that was to some degree offset. There is a net zero balance in terms of new positions because there was one fewer position in the solid waste.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, there's a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Just, Mr. Chairman, just to confirm the position total on page 50, that was changed to match, as you said, the regular wages, 11,442,59
Okay, for the position total.
for the position total, was
Thank you.
revised accordingly.
And that's your motion, Scott, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then we've got the motion, and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, fire department.
No amendments here. So I'll make a motion for fiscal year 2023, 2024, that we approve the following as presented by the mayor. Fire department. Emergency management. Animal control. Lighting, hydrants, water. Public Works Office. Highway Parks. Building maintenance. Engineering. General garage. Solid waste. Public debt service. Health department. Recreation department. And we'll stop there.
Okay, there's a motion made to approve as presented, the mayor's recommendation for those budgeted departments. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded, thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Well, I would just like to note, as the members probably recall, we had a spirited discussion at one of our meetings over the last couple of weeks about some of the Public Works Department requests. I certainly think the Public Works Director stated his position in request for some changes. As much as those, that statement made some sense to me, and I think some of the other board members might have shared, the mayor expressed some concerns about the methodology or the process of making those changes. So I don't think, at least in my opinion, that we're in a position to make those changes tonight, but certainly, at least in my opinion, I think there ought to be something administration should take a look at and see if it's appropriate to address outside of the budget process and go from there. But I don't think, you know, as part of our charge that we're unfortunately able to address it in this context. But certainly I think it was helpful to bring it to our attention and perhaps there's something that can be addressed outside the budget process. So, having said that, is there any further discussion?
No, I would just echo what Brian said. I think it makes good sense, just the process around it would be refined a bit.
So, okay. If there's nothing further, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay.
I will make a motion that we approve for fiscal year 2023-2024 the following employee benefits with the following amendments. For self-insurance contribution, amended to $16,084,338, bringing the subtotal to $37,285,595, with the department total, bringing the department total to $37,314,995.
Thank you. There's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ray. Any discussion on the motion? Well, I guess, Mike, glad to see the self-insurance contribution went down by, well, not quite 200,000, but 150,000. Do we expect any further refinement of that number, or are we?
I'm hopeful.
Okay.
We will hopefully get an updated amount from our healthcare consultants prior to the Board of Aldermen final vote in a couple months. But we don't know, but again, we periodically get updates specifically driven towards experience. So as the experience changes, you know, quarterly, we'll get an update and be able to refine it. Hopefully it's positive for us as opposed to additional monies.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Well, I think the problem or the issue that we're facing in this budget, Board of Education budget, frankly, is been a driving force of these insurance costs, both on the self-insurance side, the health insurance contribution. I mean, I think Peter might be able to know it off the top of his head, but it's an increase of $10 million maybe total. Maybe half that, 6 million between the two. That's a lot of money. So any relief or reduction would certainly have a favorable impact on both budgets. Any discussion, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve for fiscal year 2023-2024, as presented by the mayor, the following: insurance and bonds, claims and refunds, benefit and salary reserve, unallocated contingency, council on aging, Milford Arts Council, CMed, Regional Mental Health Board, Transit Authority, Bridges Healthcare, Veterans Graves, Milford Flotilla 73, Human Services Department, Historic District, Milford Progress Inc., Historic District 2, Health Services, Cemetery Association, Bethel Center, Boys and Girls Club, Literacy Volunteers of Southern Connecticut, Historic Preservation Commission, Private School Textbook, and we'll stop there for a minute.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion made to approve as the mayor recommends. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Lauren. Discussion on the motion. Well, I would just like to speak generally that, you know, Bethel Center, Boys and Girls Club, Literacy Center, Council on Aging, all of these organizations, we're fortunate in our city to have such, you know, dedicated people who work bridges. So I think I'm actually, you know, I'm proud that the city supports them in the manner that it does, and I think it's a great asset, and we get a lot of benefit in return for a relatively small cost, considering what the city, the benefits received by the city. And that would be true for the borough of Woodlawn as well, I think. So, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Okay, I'll make a motion for the fiscal year 2023-2024 that we approve the education audit fees with the amendment to reflect a professional service audit fee of $33,640, which brings that department total to $33,640.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lauren. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, moving on.
I think it's just gonna be two, and then do one at a time, I guess. And we do school benefits, education benefits.
And the operations separate.
Yeah, we'll do that, yeah, well, we did it.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's rehash. So I'll make a motion for fiscal year 2023-2024 that we approve, as presented by the mayor, the following. School debt, education employee benefits,
Okay, so there's a motion made to approve as presented those two items. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. Yes, yeah.
I'll just do it again.
Yeah, so, motion made and seconded. The discussion on the motion? Peter, and I know I should know the answer to this, but the education employee benefits, you know, that's 1.339 million. Can you explain that contribution again? I'm just never quite sure how that factors in.
That is the cost of FICA
Okay.
for payroll for non-certified Board of Ed employees. And
Okay.
it also includes the school nurses.
And the school nurses, okay. I knew it was something like that, but non-teacher, okay. And why is non-teacher, well, I don't need to get into it. And then above that for the school debt contribution, interest on principal on school. So I'm just trying, so the bond interest actually went down by about $150,000, and then the principal payment went up. Is that just a function of, is that's approximately 6.2 million for school debt contribution? So the bond principal, I'm just trying, so we've got higher principal but lower interest. Is that just the function of the rates and what might have matured and versus
Yes.
what's being paid? Okay.
It relates, yes, correct, yeah, because it's not just a new debt issue, but it's a function of the existing debt.
And is the interest fixed as opposed to variable?
It's fixed on each, they call it coupon, so the bonds have different coupons and they go over 20 years, so the rate is fixed, but it can vary from year to year.
Okay.
Each
So
issue
it doesn't
has
really
different-
quite fit the definition of fixed, but okay.
Each one is issued, whatever the.
Oh, it's
coupon
fixed
is-
for the duration of the bond.
Right.
Okay.
And for the duration of the bond, yes.
Unless it's refinanced or refunded.
Okay,
Which is not likely to happen in this interest rate
Not
environment.
We are not this interest rate environment. You're
Yeah,
right.
when we did it, what,
Yeah.
4 years ago now was our last one?
A
4 or
couple
5?
years ago, we did one before the rates went up.
that was a really slick move.
Yeah, that was too bad. In any event, okay, enough said for me anyway. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I gotta do the health insurance contribution.
Yeah, that would change, yeah.
Yeah, I got it here. I'll make a motion for fiscal year 2023, 2024, that we approve education health insurance contribution with the following adjustment. Contribution for self-insurance fund should be $24,501,376.
There's a motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, well, again, following up on my earlier comment about this city self-insurance contribution and the potential for refinement with that, is there similar potential? Are we basically under the same grouping, even though there's one?
Yeah,
one is allocated
it's,
to the Board of Ed?
yes. What's driving this slight reduction, a little more than $500,000, is the stop-loss insurance. We were able to negotiate a better rate. The stop-loss coverage that we have kicks in for each individual user after $200,000. So after $200,000 of health insurance, that's when our stop-loss coverage kicks in, and we have a couple of high claims, and we were able to negotiate a better rate with, for that stop-loss coverage. And that's what this is a reflection of. Hopefully by the time the Alderman vote on the budget mid-May, we'll have a better experience rate too for the remainder of our self-insurance expectations.
Hopefully, because as you know, the city side increased by $2.5 million.
And this is still an increase,
Yeah, and the Board of Ed increased by
3.5.
$3.5 million, so $6 million between the two of them. It's a lot of, it's what, 3% of our budget, so a lot of money. Okay.
Mr. Chair, through you,
yes.
just a quick question. You had talked about lasering.
Yes.
What, could you just explain that again?
Yeah, it simply was, as we explained, the stop loss protects us for claims above 200,000. But with lasering, they follow the rules by regulation. They may laser in on certain high-cost claims that are very high, and they're able to go 2 more times that amount. So 2 times 200,000 is 400,000. So we would be liable for claims up to 600,000 for that particular claimant. So that's what it means by lasering in on certain high-cost claims based on the high experience.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Any further discussion on education health insurance congregation? There's a motion to approve as presented with the change noted by finance department. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And I think that's our last technical change until we get to general revenue, correct?
Yes, until we get to revenue. And just a quick question, Mr. Chairman. I just want to confirm while we're on this page 94, that I have the Board of Ed change correct. 104,640,134.
The number I have.
Okay,
I get that.
thank you.
Ray, was that your number?
404-640-134, yep.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
We get the school nurses,
Yes, please.
right? I'll make a motion for fiscal year 2023, 2024 to approve education, health services, school nurses as presented by the mayor.
There's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And we go what, to page 98? We should do the departments, right, at 98 as opposed to the,
We usually do the expenses first for the,
Yeah,
and then we do the revenues for
for sewer.
sewer and for the other enterprise funds.
Yeah, so you go to flip over one line. So we'll go to the commission first. So you can do wastewater and sewer commission. Actually,
Expenditures, yeah. So I'll make a motion for fiscal year 2023, 2024, that we approve the following expenditures as presented by the mayor. Sewer commission, wastewater,
Do you want to stop there? Just because it's its own,
Okay.
There's
Oh, no, benefits.
one other-
Yeah, yeah,
benefit and salary reserves, unallocated contingency for $0.
Okay, that's the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lauren. Discussion on the motion?
We'll come back to the,
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
the revenue we'll come back to, you want to do that?
Yeah, so,
The revenues at once?
yep, so I think we should do that. But, all in favor of the motion to approve?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And then we'll go to page 97, Peter, is that what we'll do? Back to revenue?
Back to NEF 97 to approve the corresponding revenue.
So I'll make a motion for the fiscal year 2023, 2024, that we approve the sewer fund revenue as presented by the mayor.
Okay, there's a motion, I'm sorry. Motion made, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Motion made, second, any discussion on the revenue side of the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Sorry, I should have brought it up during discussion, but the sewer use fees, that's not gonna turn up on our tax side, right? I mean, that's directly what the sewer use fee is charged as separately from the property tax.
it's separate.
It's separate.
So that's
For those folks who have sewers.
Exactly. Okay, and then the power plant, okay. Okay, so there's a motion made and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously, thank you. We'll go to page 108.
Make a motion for fiscal year 2023-2024 that we approve as presented by the mayor the following,
Which one? Harbor Commission.
the following enterprise fund expenditures. The Harbor Management Commission,
Is that the Harbor Commission?
Well, actually, yeah, if you go to 109.
So let me rephrase that. I'll make a motion that we approve the 2023-2024 fiscal year as presented by the mayor, the following. Harbor Commission, golf course.
Well, actually, I think we'll just do Harbor Commission and go to golf course. The Harbor Commission, page 108, the motion made to approve as presented,
I'll second the motion.
seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Marina Enterprise. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So, you could have a motion.
So I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, for 2023-2024 fiscal year on the revenue side that we would approve as presented by the mayor, the Harbor Commission, Harbor Management Commission, Marina Enterprise revenue.
The motion made, is there a second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Golf course, page 112.
I'll make a motion for the 2023-2024 fiscal year that we approve the golf course expenditures as presented by the mayor.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make the motion for the 2023-2024 fiscal year that we approve golf course revenues as presented by the mayor.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second that.
Motion to approve golf course revenues, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I think we go to page, well,
So we'll need to approve revenues and including consider the one technical adjustment for your consideration. And then if we could pause briefly so that Peter can calculate the actual taxes due. It used to take us hours and hours for the finance director to calculate. I think Peter has refined the process so it's a bit quicker.
Peter Super Bowl.
well, I think we may need, so we'll go to revenue, I think there's a change on, well,
I'll highlight it.
Yeah.
Page 8.
yeah. I think that's-
Just approving it as a whole, right, on mine.
Yeah, this is,
With the noted change. We go,
I think we can go up to page, I would suggest a motion up to page, everything up to page 7, and then you need to make a change, or everything with the change to appropriate fund balance.
to line by line, like
Well,
taxes,
just do
licenses,
general
general
fund revenue with the
gems.
following change.
Yeah, with the following change to consider on page 8. And then you may pause, and then I can then calculate the current year taxes, give you the grand total, and then you can approve the total revenue.
All right, thank you.
All right, so I'll make a motion for the 2023-2024 fiscal year that we approve the general fund revenue with an adjustment on page 8 of the booklet to the appropriated fund balance should reflect $11,700,000.
Okay, so there's a motion made to approve the revenue, with the exception of, we'll wait for current taxes, but motion to approve with that change, to the appropriate fund balance. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, and we will, pause, and,
Peter, you're up.
Peter, so
Let me get my calculator out too. The pressure check.
get my fingers and toes ready.
You didn't?
Which is right by quicker, so. Just get there and get that spreadsheet. That's what, did you group right there, group right? Way up there, yeah, that's hard to get there, number two. Yeah, what's that, Jim?
Mr. Chairman, you may resume.
okay. Thank you, Peter. Okay, we'll, come back from, our technical break. And do we have a current
Yes.
amount?
Yes, if we go, I will read you on page 4. The current taxes amount is $209,002,594.
So,
Yep, 209,002,594.
hold on.
209,002,594.
Okay. 209,002,594.
And if you would consider a motion to approve total general fund revenue, which is the last, page 8, for the Board of Finance recommended budget would be $251,184,478.
Yeah. 251-184-478.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion that we approve for fiscal year 2023-2024. Tax revenue of $209,002,594 for a total general fund revenue of $251,184,478.
That's the motion, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded. Discussion. I guess before I vote on it, do we know what the mill rate is?
Yes, before you vote, final, the mill rate would be 26.94. And that is an increase of 0.29 mils, or a 1.09% increase in the mill rate compared to last year's adopted budget.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, so it's a mill rate of 26.94,
Yes.
and that's an increase of how many mills again?
0.29.
0.29 mills.
And if you want the percentage increase, it's 1.09% increase in the mill rate. And just while we're talking summary, we mentioned the rate of increase for the budget compared to last year's budget would be 5.37%. Looking at the total budget, city plus Board of Ed, versus last year's Board of Aldermen adopted budget, the difference is, rate of increase is 5.37.
On the expenditure.
On the expenditure side, total expenditures for the general fund.
And then, well, let me forget to vote, but, the grand list is shown where? Do we have that in here?
I should, thank you for that reminder, I can give you that number.
That number went up above and beyond what we had mentioned at the beginning of this process.
Yes. Once we got the certified grand list from the assessor for October 1st, 2022 grand list, the grand list increased by 66.7 million. 66,637,369 to be exact was the increase in the grand list. And so the new grand list number for this, to determine this mill rate, is 7,959,000.
70?
7,959,870,022 is the grand list of October 1st, 2022, which is used to calculate the mill rate for this budget.
$7,959,870,022. That's an increase of roughly 67 million. And I'm assuming the increase was due to a variety of factors, or was there anything that stood out from the assessor's standpoint? Just
I
increase
know
in
that there was personal property, motor vehicles, and real property.
all went up
All,
in value. Okay.
We vote on
And now, well, we don't vote on the grand list, but we vote on everything else. So, and we don't vote on the mill rate because that happens by itself, but we do vote on the general fund revenue, right?
Yeah, I think there's a motion out there.
There's a motion already. Any further discussion? Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, indulge me, this is likely gonna be my last Board of Finance meeting, and, you know, this is my 20th budget, both as an alderman and as a mayor. This was one of the most challenging budgets, because, again, we were in tough financial times. I do wanna say that you did a great job. I always appreciate your willingness to give back to the community. This is a volunteer job, and your willingness to give of your time, your energy, your expertise to fine tune the budget. Again, I know that it still has to go to the Board of Aldermen for final adoption, but I think you made some good headway and gave them a good starting platform to enact the 2023-2024 budgeting in good faith. So I do appreciate your work over the last 2 months, and it has been a pleasure budgeting with you over the last many years, so thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your service to the city, and reciprocate your comments. It's certainly been a pleasure working with you. So I do think I have you beat on the number of budgets,
Thank you, too.
unfortunately. Well, thank you, and good luck with your new endeavors. Anything further? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Peter, thank you for all your efforts. Thank you. Go around. Always a pleasure. Thank you to the members for another budget season. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, yes. Seconded, all in favor?
See ya.
Aye.
Heard it.
All right, thank you.